Hello, Business 330 students. This is Professor Hassey. On this holiday weekend, this is our introduction video to our halfway point week, number 5, for our week of July 5 through July 11th. Our topic this week is capital budgeting, the concept of how to determine whether we should invest in an asset and what kind of return it will be giving to us. First of all, this week in our lecture video, which will be posted on Wednesday, we'll review assignment number 1. The grades have been posted. Please take a look at the grades, and the solutions have been posted to the assignment number 1 file folder. We'll also review the portfolio update of this past weekend in the discussion forum. If you have not done so, make sure you post that work so I'll review that on Wednesday. Also, we'll be looking at capital budgeting, chapters 8 and 9, looking at some problems for review on page 276 and 296 of your textbook. We'll review that in our lecture video on Wednesday. And then you have assignment number 2 this week on chapters 5, 6, and 7. It has been posted. It's in the assignment number 2 file, and that is due July 11th. I'll review that work also in our lecture video on Wednesday. But first, an introduction video to capital budgeting.
Hey guys, welcome to Derek Business Class. In this video, I'm gonna explain to you the basic concepts of capital budgeting. Capital budgeting is the process of identifying, evaluating, and implementing a firm's investment opportunities. Let's say, now you have $1 million and 3 potential investments are being presented to you. The process of deciding which project to invest is what we call capital budgeting. Capital budgeting has got a few indicators, such as payback period, NPV, IRR, to assist us to select the best investment for the company. Through the analysis of potential additions to fixed assets, take note of the keywords, fixed assets. When you do capital budgeting, you are basically considering investing in fixed assets, such as buying machines or equipments. It seeks to identify investments that will enhance a firm's competitive advantage and increase shareholder wealth. Investing in the fixed assets, in fact, is to enhance the firm's competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is an attribute that enables a company to perform better than its competitors. To increase shareholder wealth is the same as to increase the share price or the value of the company. It is in line with the goal of shareholder wealth maximization. Capital budgeting deals with long-term decisions, which involves large expenditures. For committing a large sum of spending, the company has to be very cautious. For the calculation, 2 parts we are gonna deal with. First, we have to estimate the amount of initial investment. Second, the future cash inflows that could be received. That is what we call cost and benefits analysis. Next, the capital budgeting process consists of 5 steps. First, estimate cash inflows and outflows. Second, assess the riskiness of cash flows. Third, determine the appropriate cost of capital, WACC. Fourth, find the NPV and IRR. Lastly, accept the investment if the NPV is greater than 0 or the IRR is greater than the WACC. We will explain more later in the following slides. Before showing you the calculation part, there are some basic concepts we have to explain first. The first one is to differentiate the basic terminology, independent projects versus mutually exclusive projects. We have 2 types of projects. The first one is independent projects. Independent projects mean the acceptance of an investment does not preclude the acceptance of other investments. So, accepting one project will not affect the decision of accepting another project, basically because the 2 projects do not compete for the firm's resources. As long as the investments meet the relevant capital budgeting criterion, all investments could be accepted. However, mutually exclusive projects mean the acceptance of an investment would automatically lead to rejection of other investments. Let's say you have 5 potential projects. If these projects are mutually exclusive, you can only choose to accept one out of the 5 projects. Mutually exclusive projects are the investments that compete in some way for a company's resources. In other words, due to the capital constraints of the company, such projects cannot be undertaken simultaneously. Therefore, only one investment could be undertaken at a particular time. All right, another comparison is unlimited funds versus capital rationing. If the firm has unlimited funds for making investments, then all independent projects that provide returns greater than some specified level can be accepted and implemented. But unlimited fund is something not true. It's impossible that the company may have unlimited fund, no matter how big the company is. That's why we say, in most cases, firms face capital rationing restrictions, since they only have a limited amount of funds to invest in potential investment projects at any given point of time. Limited amount of funds is the capital constraint. In short, capital rationing is the act of placing restrictions on the amount of new investments or projects undertaken by a company. Next, accept-reject approach versus ranking approach. The accept-reject approach involves the evaluation of capital expenditure proposals to determine whether they meet the firm's minimum acceptance criteria. Projects will be evaluated one by one separately during the selection process. However, the ranking approach involves the ranking of capital expenditures on the basis of some predetermined measure, such as the rate of return. All the project's returns will be ranked from the highest to the lowest. Next, conventional cash flow versus non-conventional cash flow. Conventional cash flows are cash flows which contain one cash outflow in the initial stage, then followed by a series of cash inflows. The sign only changes once. In other words, at the initial year you pay to invest, afterwards, you will receive cash inflows. However, non-conventional cash flows are where the cash flow sign changes more than once. So, you'll have more than one negative cash flow after year 0. For example, you pay at year 0, then, year 1 you will receive positive cash flow, but you will pay again at year 2, that is the negative cash flow. Then, from year 3 onwards, you will receive positive cash flows continually. For the following calculation part, mostly we will deal with conventional cash flows. Decision-making criteria and capital budgeting. The ideal evaluation method should include all cash flows that occur during the life of the project. Take note, all cash flows. Consider the time value of money, which means the timing of cash flows. Incorporate the required rate of return on the project. Required rate of return. In short, required return is the minimum return that companies should earn. We are not going to accept any project that has a return which is lower than the required return. Alright, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.
Okay, quite the a little detailed of descriptions of capital budgeting, but very important to get us started in this concept of capital budgeting, because in the remaining half of this class, the next 5 weeks, all our graded work will involve capital budgeting. Besides assignment number 2, not included this week, but assignment 3, your case paper, which we'll discuss next week, and your final examination, all will have capital budgeting work included. So a very important concept for this class. The next few chapters over the next couple of weeks, chapters 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, all concern itself with capital budgeting. So a couple things to note. First of all, in your assignments file folder this week, you now see assignment number 2. There it is right there. So that has now been uploaded, and you can begin your work on that. It's due next Sunday, July 11th. Pretty much the same format as before. It's a PDF or a Word doc file. Both are the same. You can do your work on the same file or create your own file. There's some calculations involved, but you do not need to show me those calculations. And there's some written interpretations and a little bit of internet research. So again, same format as assignment number 1, and then post it by next Sunday. Again, if you need extensions, they are available. You just have to let me know. Again, assignment number 1 has been posted. If you go a little bit farther, you'll see the solutions down there now in assignment number 4. I have uploaded back your files to your grade center so you can see your returned work to you. Again, make sure you review that, and if you have any questions or concerns, you let me know. Also, make sure you check your grade status at this current time. Some of us still have yet to see me in regards to the professor meetings. So if you've not made arrangements, you'll see a 0 there, which doesn't make your grade look very good. So make sure you see me and get that cleaned up over the next week or so, since we are at the halfway point of our class. Make sure you get all your grading situation completed so you can have a good idea where you stand in this class. Again, also make sure you go to week number 5. It's called Capital Projects Part 1. There's some good, again, additional lecture videos. They're also included in our YouTube page. Some good descriptions of the material that you need to read for this week. Certain pages in Chapter 8, certain pages in Chapter 9. You're not responsible for the full chapters. And then there's a PowerPoint and some definitions that you should be familiar with as you study your review. And these are the problems we will review in our lecture, video lecture this Wednesday. So a lot of work to do. We're at the halfway point coming out of the holiday weekend. Again, make sure your grades are accounted for. And if you have any questions, see me. Need to get those cleaned up since we're now at the halfway point of our class. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend, what's left of it. And we'll see you all on Wednesday in our lecture video. And I'm available for any questions or concerns tomorrow evening, Tuesday, in our office hours for our Business 330 class. Again, have a great day, and we'll see you later on this week. Adios.